Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video we'll take a look at NIO's battery swapping strategy and the build out of their infrastructure, which is in a sense an asset, but it's also causing a lot of online rumors around or discussion I should say around the cost that is taken in order to build out this infrastructure, right? But at the same time I would argue it's bringing NIO ahead in the game, and it's also having quite interesting effects. And what I want to talk about is a little bit of context that I want to add here around the launch of LI Auto's first fully electric vehicle, which is the LI Mega, which has just been launched. And I'm not gonna make this a LI bashing or comparison video in terms of who is better or not. I'm rather want to stress the point here that the companies are quite different, and currently being often compared in a way that I think doesn't make sense, like putting out those weeklies. By the way, LI Auto is doing that, which of course shows that LI is excelling operationally and exceeding sales numbers, but I would argue they're in a different game, right? So yes, they have the green license plates, such as also the EVs, the full EVs are actually receiving in China. However, in the end, this will be the first fully electric car. And so one should say, until today, they haven't sold any fully battery electric vehicles, and we'll see how well the Mega will be doing. I'm not discussing whether or not I think this is a great value proposition or if I like the design or not. All I want to say is that I think, again, in the marketing, they're being brilliant, timing this around the launch of the Tesla Cybertruck. So I'm wishing them success, and I hope they'll do well. But I think only once LI Auto is starting selling the Mega, then we'll see actually how well they're really doing in what I think is the future of the auto market, actually in fully electric vehicles that don't need any range extender or gasoline engine in there, right? So, and I have to say, like the prospects of that are really great looking on paper right now for the Mega. So this one is a charging curve, which you can see that the Mega, which is this dark line here, is charging from 5% to 80% in around 10 minutes, 12 minutes more or less. And so that shows and demonstrates that LI Auto is entering with a very competitive fast charging capability here for their first EV. And that's of course important, because that's an important indicator for the buying decision, right? And will be very important also for the user satisfaction with the vehicle. And maybe, again, another argument to question the strategy of battery swapping, if you will, given the fact that fast charging is becoming faster and faster. I'll leave the full discussion for that for this video, because I think there is I could do a whole video on that. Just want to say something that I've just posted in the Patreon community earlier, which is about what NIO's doing here in Germany, where you can also see that they have great improvements recently when it comes to the charging curve. So what you see here is a NIO with the latest, I think it's an ET5 Touring, with the latest battery in Germany, charging at a average of 144 kilowatt, and so charging from 0 to more than 91% in about 30 minutes, and that's pretty good, especially that the rate of charging, the charging speed or the power throughput is really quite high and constant, and not falling off until maybe around 80%. So showing that NIO is also working on these matters when it comes to fast charging. And so we might see very competitive fast charging curves as well on NIO's side there. But again, this is not a discussion whether or not we go into battery swapping versus supercharging. What I rather want to talk about here is that with LI Auto now entering the EV segment, really, what they also need to do is build out their infrastructure. And here I found a quite interesting article, I think. That's actually from 36KR. It's a very, very good tech news outlet in my point of view in China. And that one was posted couple of days ago. Yeah, this one is about the prospects of Li Auto actually having to build out their infrastructure. So this one is auto-translated here, but I'm going through some of the most important points here. So, for making these type of charging curves a reality, Li Auto needs to build out their supercharging infrastructure. They need really high-end so-called 5C superchargers. So they are, very, very performant. But this article is speaking of the fact that despite the fact that they have the target of building out 300 of such ultra-fast charging stations to the year end, they have now deployed around 10 in the high-speed service areas. So that might be areas that have good power outlet coverage as well, and might be close to highways or something like that. But they are facing challenges in grid capacity, and that the power, the current needed on site is possibly not always available. So this article speaks of the fact that they have spoken with the sources, which said that despite a couple of these chargers are now in place already, they're still not connected to the grid, and they're facing such kind of issues with connecting it. And that's the issue with those kind of charging curves here, which is that they might not be met in reality. We don't know yet. I hope they will be met in reality, and I believe that they technically can be met in ideal scenarios. However, we still have to see whether or not Li Auto can find as many places where the power is sufficient in order to connect this and keep it operational at such charging speeds, especially in case that there is more than one vehicle at the same time using it, right? So these are some of these initial challenges that they're supposedly facing here right now. Now I have to reload this page possibly. Right. Now, they said Li Auto has pointed that they want to build out 3,000 of such stations, and by 2025, and the total cost will be 10 billion yuan. So quite a substantial invest here overall, and the average cost of each ultra-fast charging station is over 330 million yuan. So that is more expensive actually than battery swap stations. Again, building out such a ultra-fast charging station on the unit basis is more expensive than building out the NIO swap stations. And NIO already has built out more than 2,000, while Li Auto is planning to have 3,000 at some point in time. They want to build out 300 this year and have built 10 now that have not been connected to the grid yet. So this is kind of the challenge that they're facing here, both on the cost side as well as on the operational side. And now this kind of outlines why these companies cannot be compared, first of all, when it comes to vehicle sales, because they're simply facing a different strategy. They're operating in a different market, but also when it comes to the stage where they are. Yes, we need to recognize that Li Auto is an operationally profitable company, which is especially great during such times where risk off is the case, where any asset that is unprofitable is not getting lots of bid in the markets, right? But you also need to see that NIO is taking a calculated bet, in my point of view. They have pulled this investment forward in time. They decided to fully enter the EV market in the first place, in the first step. They're not selling any plug-in hybrids or something like that. They're not going to cross and bridge finance their business by going into gasoline cars, ICE cars, or PVs, anything like that. No, pure focus on EV and focus on the infrastructure build out right from the beginning. So that has caused a leap ahead in the infrastructure and has now made them actually the biggest private infrastructure owner in China. Here we are now. We've got it NIO here at more than 5,000 superchargers. They have more, even also destination chargers, but these are the superchargers and swap stations. So that equals to around 2,000 swap stations, right? And around more than 3,000 superchargers, and adding 254 monthly here on top of that. So that's larger than Tesla and certainly larger than Li Auto here in comparison. So, you know, NIO really made this as a strategic decision. And now with the news yesterday about, you know, some of those players, first one of those players joining the battery swap system. But as I laid out, I think possibly up to 4 more of these big names to come. I think NIO will double down on this strategic success and leap ahead against competition, and possibly, you know, build this out even further, because this is something where I'm not sure if the others will be able to still catch up. You know, the real estate is gone. That investment is made. So yes, that's already on a balance sheet. In a way, that's bad because, of course, the cost is already there. However, in Li Auto's case, you know, they still have to burn through that money. And so all of that hasn't worked through their balance sheet yet, but it's still to come. And we don't know yet how this is going to look on the operational side with this new car. How many people will actually buy this car? How many pure EV buyers Li Auto can convince? How the charging curves are really looking? How many places can be found where you can actually operate such high-speed charging, whether or not that is sufficient for a great user experience or not, you know? And then I don't even want to go into all of the, you know, specifics about battery swapping, how this is actually possible to, you know, be installed and operated in areas where not such high grid power is the case. And on top of that, you know, even supporting the grid, and what's new from this article, actually being even more cost effective on a unit economic than those ultra high fast charging stations. So, you know, just want to put this out there, not saying the Li Auto approach of becoming profitable first and then entering EVs later on is bad or doomed. I hope they will be successful, but I just want to also give this kind of a context to viewers, because out there, I think, you know, most people who are not watching this on a daily basis or don't have a long-term view on things, they may just see those weeklies that are put out there, confuse that in terms of trying to, you know, make sense why they are such better performing right now, but still don't see how much actually Li Auto needs to catch up here, and we'll really see how they are holding up in the future in 2024 and beyond. So I thought that was interesting. Let me know your thoughts around this in the comments, and then I'll see you in my next videos.